Welcome back to another episode of the Wolfpack Podcast. I have a very special guest lined up for you guys today. He is from outside of the real estate industry. He actually is a fitness and wellness specialist. He is a coach, and he is here to provide you with tactical information on how to understand the roots of your health and wellness journey. Stay all the way to the end with us, and I promise you, you will not regret it. I will be sharing a very special code and link so you can get full access to our guests' brand new free school community. So like I said, stay tuned, watch the video all the way throughout, and if you like this content, go ahead, leave us a comment below, subscribe, and stay tuned weekly for episodes that are dropping every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And we are live, man. Like I said, man, super happy to have you on here. I know it's been a little minute since we connected, so obviously this is a great way to reconnect. And if it's cool with you, man, just kind of give everybody a quick 60-second rundown of who you are and kind of what you're doing.
My name is Tyson. I'm a certified health and wellness coach. So what I do basically is help people kind of design a system around behavior change for them. So whether it's they want to move more, start working out more, they want to eat better, get better sleep, stuff like that. There's like different routes that I believe and that are involved in our health and wellness overall. So I think it's just helping people find what works for them in terms of how to get from point A to point B with whatever it is that they want to get better at. So
okay. And maybe what kind of had you dive into this space? Obviously, you know, it's a very niche space. So what kind of brought you into this journey?
Yeah, my own health journey. It's kind of a long story, but I think it's important to tell. So
100%.
What it was I think it was November of 2022 is when I started to feel physical symptoms when it comes to like gut issues and stuff after I'd eat certain foods and stuff like that. So I'd eat something that maybe wasn't the best, and then I'd have a couple, 2-3 days where I'm bloated, and I'd start skipping meals and stuff like that. Progressively got worse. I was also at a point in my life where I was using pretty strong alcohol to numb some of the stuff that I was going through. So bad foods, heavy, bourbon use and stuff like that did not do well for my gut. So it progressed over that next month to a point to where I think it was New Year's Eve. It was the first time I went to the ER in December of 2022 and had like CT scans done, showed that I had inflammation, like severe inflammation in my gut. I didn't leave there with really diagnosis or anything like that. They gave me some steroids, some pain pills, some antibiotics to help ease the pain. But it was crazy because that stuff helped. It helped for a little bit. And then after I got off those steroids, things got a lot worse, like really, really bad, to where I was in the fetal position on the couch, like wondering what the heck is going on. Like this is something really serious. So I think it was the middle of January. I think it was January. Might have been like January 5th or the 15th, something like that. I went back down to the ER in Columbus, Ohio, and more scans, more blood tests, all this stuff, and they found an abscess in my gut, which it's basically a hole that's starting to burn through your intestine. And they admitted me right away. Told me that I had to be on like heavy IV antibiotics to get rid of that. So I was in the hospital I didn't eat for like 3 days. I was in the hospital for I think a total of 5 or 6 days. Got off those antibiotics. They gave me like oral steroids, oral antibiotics to go home with, stuff like that. And then that's when I started to hear like stuff like Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, all these different terms that were like lifelong conditions. A few more weeks of scans, of tests, all this stuff, and a diagnosis finally came back of Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease of the gut. It can happen anywhere from like the throat down to where the other end. So there's a whole bunch of different areas that this could affect, and I was told I had to be on like lifelong medications if I wanted to continue to live the same way that I wanted to live. Like eat the same foods, like all that stuff. I've always been a person like you hear, I'm sure when you watch TV, you see these medications and meds and all this stuff. Like it can help with
Yep.
this,
Yeah.
but it can also give you all these 10, 15, 20 different side effects. And I always told myself,
Yes.
like, why would somebody like go down that route if it can fix one thing, but it can hurt all these different other areas of your body?
Yeah.
And I always told myself that if something ever happened, I'd probably try and go a different route, like try and find something more holistic. And that's exactly what I did.
Good for you.
So I came into, I found a company called Crohn's Colitis Lifestyle, who they had
Okay.
health coaches
Yep.
on staff to where they'd partner you up with somebody
Mm.
and help you kind of formulate a plan or a protocol
Mm.
to manage these symptoms holistically. And
Okay.
that's when I realized the power that we have in our own health and wellness with the choices that we make, the inputs, the food, the
Yes.
how we deal with stress, the
Yep.
sleep, the hydration, like all these different things. And as I went through this protocol, my like symptoms they
Mm.
started to digress, like they started to get better. So
Okay.
that's when I realized that this was like a calling for me, is because how my health coach made me
Mm.
feel throughout that process. Actually, like I felt like I was being listened to for the first time. Like they were trying to
Yeah.
treat me, Tyson, the
Mm-hmm.
person, instead of just
Yeah.
the symptoms.
Yes.
So I was like, there's something to this.
Yep.
So I decided that I wanted to get certified as a health and wellness coach to help people walk that path as well.
Okay.
For people that maybe they're not having issues that severe yet,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe they know that there's something that they need to change to
Mm-hmm.
put themselves in a better position with their health. So
Yeah.
that's the main reason that I started doing it, and that I know I feel so aligned with that right now, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
And I think that's fantastic. Obviously, I know a little bit more deeper about the backstory and kind of the different things you've been through.
Yeah.
And to kind of see you get to this point to where you're doing, I guess, something you're actually truly passionate about, something that you actually care about, something that you're 100% bought into. I think it's fantastic. And I think with your story and with your knowledge, it's going to be, I mean, nothing but great things to come for you. And I guess to take a little bit deeper dive on specifically what you're doing now, can
Yeah.
you kind of give me a rundown of maybe some habits that typically people are kind of overlooking in their daily lives that, compound over time?
I think the biggest one for me was the food that I was putting into my body. I
Okay.
used to eat fast food multiple times a week, whether it was
Mm.
Wendy's, Chick-fil-A,
Yeah.
Chipotle, stuff like that, and all that stuff. It's not. It might not be the worst for everybody. Because one thing that I've learned throughout this whole process, Luke, is that we're all
Mm.
so bio individual. Like what might
Yeah.
affect me might not affect somebody else.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing for me was not only the food that I was eating, the alcohol was not doing me any good. I might have a glass of red wine here and there
Yep.
now. Sleep was a big one too, and how I dealt with stress. Like I've really, like nervous system regulation, stuff like that, breath work, things that I'm doing
Okay.
now, meditations, stuff
Yep.
that I did not really know anything about in the past that I
Yep.
do on a weekly basis now to try and help with just my nervous system and my whole body in general. So.
Yeah. And if you can, obviously, I would like kind of debunk the myth of where it's like the meditation and stuff like that is kind of, fugazi and like it just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say it has a bad rep to it, but some people kind of overlook it just due to maybe the people that are preaching it, right? So for you personally, like what has those type of activities done for your health?
I think meditation, well, I had a big kind of a misconception too about meditation before. I thought you were just
Hmm.
supposed to sit there and like not think any thoughts. And
Yeah.
like, that's so hard to do.
Yes.
I heard this analogy, and I think what meditation is supposed to teach us is how to control our thoughts
Mm-hmm.
instead of like sticking with them and dwelling on them for hours or days or weeks.
Yeah.
When I meditate, there's two different ways that I try and think about it. Is I'll try and sit there, obviously, and try and control like the thought processes that are coming into my brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one way that you can think of it is just act like you're sitting on the side of the street and you're watching traffic, right?
Okay.
And every car that goes by is a thought, right? So just as
Mm-hmm.
that thought enters your head,
Mm-hmm.
allow it to pass and then go on through the traffic. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna have a traffic jam. Or you're gonna have all
Yep.
these thoughts backed up, and your head's gonna be so loud that you're
Mm-hmm.
not even gonna be able to get these positive thoughts and these affirmations or whatever it is that you need to be thinking about to get you into a better position.
Yep.
Another way that I like to think about it too is like little thought bubbles. So
Okay.
anytime a thought comes into my head, I'll try and put that thought into a thought bubble and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of let it float away. But if you can do this for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes during your meditation practice, you can get into a habit of where things in your everyday life, whatever thought it is, whatever thing happens, you can put it into a thought bubble or watch it just go along as traffic goes in the car and like just let that pass by and not dwell on those things. I think that's the biggest thing in meditation is just
Yes.
learning to control your thoughts instead of trying to stop thinking altogether, because I
Yep.
feel like in today's day and age, like we're so overstimulated, like that's so hard to do anyway, just like sit in a space for 15 minutes and not have a single thought. So
Yeah.
instead control them instead of not trying to have them.
I think that's a great way to put it. I think a lot of people have that misconception. I think that's like kind of what I was trying to say earlier was that misconception of like meditating is like sitting down and just being in like with no thoughts, nothing going through your head. And that's kind of the same, honestly, conception that I have that I had of
Yeah.
meditation before I took a deeper dive into it. And now it's the same way as you is like I'm almost open to the thoughts, right? I just need to
Yep.
be you need to be aware of that they're that they're coming through, understand the feeling that they're giving you, and then watch them exit away.
Yeah.
I think once you kind of understand that, you enter obviously a deeper state of meditation. You start seeing deeper benefits. So I guess I want to take a little backtrack too on the food, right?
Yeah.
I think so many people underestimate what they're eating and what they're putting in their body. They may think it's healthy, but
Yeah.
I want to take a deeper dive even into like the pans that they're using, their cookware. Like how do variables like that stack up against, the long-term health?
Yeah, well, I just like going to the pans. I know
Yep.
that like this is again something that I never crossed my mind before, but like the Teflon stuff, the non-stick pans, they have
Yeah.
certain chemicals in them that make them non-stick.
Yep.
So when your food and when you're heating that up to 200, 300, 400 degrees and you're putting your food on it, those chemicals have to go somewhere. So they're going into your food. And then you're eating those foods. And again, for some people, it might not be an issue, but over time, progressively, it might add up to where it leads to a certain condition or something like that you never thought of before. So
Yeah.
stainless steel pans, pots and pans, that is by far the safest thing that you can cook on because they don't have those chemicals in them. And there's certain ways, a lot of people like, oh, everything sticks. There's certain ways that you can heat them up and like use certain oils and stuff
Yep.
like that to get them to where they don't stick. I know that was one thing that I talked to other people on the team and I said something to you. I know that you made the transition to stainless steel.
Literally.
But I think there's a lot, man. There's so many, like food in general. I know there's just a lot of, I think the biggest thing with food is just to try and avoid ultra processed foods.
Yes.
If you can boil it down and make your food as simple as possible, like one ingredient foods, like a
Yeah.
cucumber only has one ingredient. It's a cucumber. Like
Yeah.
meat, you know what I mean? It's meat for the most part. But when you
Yeah.
go to fast food restaurants, I don't want to name any restaurants and get people all upset, but you go to these certain places and get a chicken sandwich, and it's got 40 different ingredients in
Yeah.
it. It's like, what are you eating, right?
100%.
So I think that ultra processed like cookies, like just basically it sucks. But
Yeah.
I try and avoid most things in a bag or in a box. I try
Yep.
and make most of my foods at home because that's just where I'm at with my health, and that's
Yeah.
what helps me a lot. So I think if we can make it as simple as possible, I think I guess I'll post somewhere that like back in like the 70s and 80s, 30 or 40%, like 30% of our foods were processed foods, and now it's up to like 80% from like what we're eating on a daily basis. It's crazy.
It is. And it's honestly, it's unfortunate because it's, for a lot of people, it's hard to escape, right? And
Yeah.
that's why everyone kind of falls into like, I mean, we're the most obese country in the world.
We are.
And it's for a reason. I mean, you see what's on the shelves when you walk into a grocery store. I mean, you have to literally dig for something healthy.
It's crazy because in the United States, like of adults,
Yep.
close to, I think it's a little bit over 70% of adults have some form of chronic disease, and over 40% have at least two. Like that's a stat. Like that's, and we're the nation that spends. We're at the top of spending for healthcare. We're at the very bottom of where we are in our health in terms of that. So,
I think, and I don't want to cut you off, but it just brought like a point to my head is like, we do spend a lot on healthcare, but we don't really, what's the best way to put it? we don't take a deeper dive and understand why we're getting sick, right? We don't do anything preventative. So I think that's where what you're doing is fantastic. It's like, you're breaking it down to the root, right? Understanding that we need to get preventative before we even reach this state of like going and getting healthcare, right?
You said the key word. You said root. Like that's one of the key words, because I showed this figure on a webinar that I did last week, and think of it as a tree, right? So you have this tree, and like up at the top, you have all these leaves. That's like with all these body parts or all these symptoms and diagnoses that we get that affect our heart, our lungs, our gut, our thyroid, like all these different things. And I don't want people to think that I'm like bashing certain aspects, but at the same time, the way that we treat disease here in the United States is so backwards, because we will give you a pill to try and take care of one of those symptoms, and then you'll get 10 to 15 other symptoms along with it.
Yep. And
below
10 to
that
15 more
tree,
pills.
below that tree are the roots, like you just said. So you have, I think there's 8. I don't know if I can name them all off the top of my head, but you got sleep and relaxation. You got hydration and nutrition. You have movement. You have stress and the way that we deal with that. Your environment and like what toxins you bring in. Your relationships, your networks, your gut health. And there's one more I can't think of it off the top of my head. But all those things at the bottom of the tree, those roots, those are all inputs that we can control.
Yeah.
Right. And that we can make changes to on a daily basis to help our leaves grow stronger, brighter, like different, like better than what they are today. So, but a lot of people don't think like that. They'd rather take a pill or a medication and continue to eat and sleep the same way, deal with stress the same way. That way they don't have to make those certain changes, because change is tough. Change is hard, especially when you're trying to do it by yourself and on your own.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and that's why people reach out to people like you for coaching and for help, because it's like that's why people like you need to exist, because we unfortunately live in a healthcare system that is non-preventative, and it's just kind of reactive. It's like, okay, you're sick now. Okay, we're going to shove you a pill. And then when you start getting other symptoms, we'll give you more pills and more pills and more pills. And then you're knee deep in medical debt, unfortunately.
I read this book called The Mind-Gut Connection, and it just talks about how connected our bodies are. It's like when you take a pill to help with one thing, that part of the body is connected to directly connected to like 3 or 4 different body parts, and it will affect those as well. So then all of a sudden you're on 2 medications, and then that's connected to different ones, and now you're on 3 medications. Like look at all your like grandparents and some of your parents, they're like on 7, 8, 9, 10 different medications because of the way that we deal with stuff.
Yeah. And and this is obviously just something that came off the top of my head, maybe out of the roots, I know there's multiple roots. Could you put a few of them over the others as like importance wise to really be focused on? Because maybe at first 7 to 8 roots is a lot for somebody to kind of understand and like kind of start to take the change, because when they look at it in a real big perspective, it's like, wow, it's a lot that I got to change. So for that person that's just trying to dip their toe in, take the step of really trying to see true change in their health, what would be maybe top 3 roots that they should be focusing on?
I want to be careful answering this question, because it's a great question, because one, again, I'm going to go back to the bio-individuality of all of us, right? So some person might be doing really good with movement and strength training and all this, but their diet is shit. So like that person, like that, the diet and nutrition, hydration might be the biggest one for them. If I were to just say the top, I think nutrition and hydration is definitely in the top 3. I think sleep is a big thing too, because that's how our body resets. If we're not getting the REM sleep versus deep sleep, all these different things, our body is not going to be in a space to where it can handle stress and all these things. And I think how we deal with stress is probably would probably be the top 3. But again, that could be different for that. I think that's one of the reasons I enjoy doing what I do so much, is because I never get bored with the calls that I have with people, because everybody's in a different space. So you might be really good on your sleep and nutrition and movement, but maybe like relationships and your environment and stuff is the one that we need to work on. But if I were to put a bubble around the top 3, I think the 3 that I said would probably, I think that's most people would have some sort of issue with those 3.
Yeah. So kind of, when somebody comes to you, and we'll just say like their first initial call, walk me through the steps of what you do, right? Obviously, first call is kind of discovery call. What are you trying to discover on that call for the people that are kind of curious on maybe what the next steps would be?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing I do is one, just try and figure out what their biggest challenge is right now with their health and
Okay.
wellness. Like usually they could like they'll have an idea what the biggest thing is for them, and why that is the biggest challenge for them, and then really just kind of gauge their commitment levels to how committed they are to making the changes, because that's a big thing too. Because people say they
Yeah.
want change all the time,
Yeah,
like how committed are you to making some of your meals at homes? How committed are you to not going to Starbucks and having 28 grams of sugar first thing in the morning?
Straight
You know what I mean? Like
sugar,
all
I
these
know,
different, like
100%.
all these different things. So it's really trying to figure out what they want to change,
Yep.
what their commitment levels are to that, and really figuring out their life, because everybody's not only does everybody have a different story, different problems, all these things. Everybody's got different schedules. Everybody's got
that's very
different
true.
things that they have to do every day. Some people have kids, some don't. Everybody's got different stories. So it's really
Yep.
trying to figure out and design a system. And here's the thing, I think a misconception with health and wellness coaching, I don't tell you what to do. Like I don't say like, hey, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. Through our conversations, we will both. I try and get people to think more of me as a partner in change.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Yeah.
why I named my coaching business Partner in Change. It's because more of a guide. Like I'm not telling you guys what you should be doing, but through our conversations, we'll figure out what things you're willing to commit to this week. And then we have weekly checkups and see how you did, what got in the way, how do we make sure that doesn't happen again, and then adjust as we go on. Because I think a big misconception too to change in general is that it's just instantaneous. Like it's just a linear line, and people think, okay, I'm going to change, and like this is just the way it is moving forward. And then, or they try and change a lot of things all at once, and then when
It's
they
overwhelming.
fail,
Yeah.
they just go right back. They restart back to the point, the very, very start, instead of just making little tiny adjustments that we can tweak until you have that system down, until you have something that works for you.
Yeah.
So it's really, again, it just really depends on the individual. That's why I like doing this so much with, because it's always different.
Yeah. I think that's a super cool aspect to what you're doing too. Is there's never, and like you said, like even biologically, obviously we're all very different. So every phone call that you hop on with is a whole different story, a whole different circumstance, and there's a whole different game plan that you'll put together for these type of people.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think that's a huge thing to emphasize, and I think that's maybe a misconception with just everything. This space in general is like they're just gonna get a cookie cutter plan. They're just gonna you give them a ChatGPT 90-day plan, and then they have to go do it. And then when they don't see results, they ask for more money. But the approach that you're taking is very more hands on. It's very more it's less fitness coaching and more really truly health and wellness.
What my goal is for everybody, just kind of tag on to that, is I want to coach myself out of a job with every person that I talk to. Like my goal is, so if you were one of my clients, Luke, my goal would be to get you to a point to where you understand change so much and so well that you can apply the game plan that we create together to whatever it is that you have in your life.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to work with me for the next 2-3 years. Like I want to, in 90 days, I want to get you to a point to where you have a health and wellness system for yourself that not only do we tackle like the biggest fruits that you came here to change, but then whatever else comes up in your life, say 6 months down the road, you found that your sleep's kind of getting off a little bit, then you can take what you learned working with me and apply it to that, and then make those changes yourself. I'm obviously always here if you guys would ever need any more support outside of that.
Yep.
But my goal isn't to try and make as much money from each person. Like I want to give you guys the systems and help you, I guess, put those in your life. That way you can do this on your own whenever that comes up again.
Yeah, essentially, I think, and you even put it the best earlier, is like, I feel like coach is a bad term. You're more of a guide. You're really there. You're really there to give them the tools. So no matter what happens in the next 6 to 12 months, they feel fully equipped to not only take it head on, but they maybe know kind of how they're feeling, why they're feeling some type of way, and they know where to course correct along those lines because of what you're doing for them.
Yep. That's why I think it took me a while to come up with like, what am I going to name this coaching business that I want? And Partner and
Yeah.
Change, it just made so much sense because
Mm-hmm.
that's truly what I want to be for anybody that works with me, is just their partner along their change process until obviously, hopefully we reach the goals that they're looking to.
Yep.
But it's more about them becoming the person that does these things,
Yeah.
right?
I think
It's
that's
not
huge.
about, just becoming that future version of yourself that is that healthy person that whether it's make your meals or gets 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I want to help you become that person, and then then you're equipped to
Yeah.
change other things in your life too, because you know how change works.
Exactly. And also that kind of segues into my next section is, obviously this is something that, it's kind of in its startup phase, right? You're still kind of building your base, and you're coming from a very, I know we'll call it a stable job to where, things were kind of predictable, things were happening. So for you, maybe that person that's scared of change or scared to even step outside their comfort zone, take health and wellness away, just really a mindset type of question is like, what do you tell those people who maybe are really, they know that they must change, but they're shying away from it at this point?
I think I want to talk on a little bit about my last role, not like huge specifics, but
Yep.
I was in a role for 19 months, and what I learned from that job is, and from the mentors that I worked with there, is before I joined that academy, that program, that community, like, I was in a bad spot, man. Like, I was borderline depressive thoughts, I believe, and I had to, one, get around the different energies, get around different frequencies. I think that was important for me. But I learned that you have to go through uncomfortable things if you want to have the life that you want to live, right?
Yep.
So change is always uncomfortable. Like, our brains and our minds are wired to keep us safe.
Yep.
And what is safe is comfortable. So instead of going through that, I wanted to try and find a way to get out of my comfort zone. And I did that a lot with my last role. And over the last year and a half, I've grown a lot. I've become a lot more confident. I've become a lot more self-aware. Now, this health journey has helped me become a lot more self-aware as well. But I think the biggest thing to change is just being not only willing, but committed to getting into that zone where you don't feel safe all the time. And knowing that it's okay.
Yes.
Because that's where you grow. That's where you grow, and that's where really, really good things start to happen. Like, I did my first webinar last week. I was scared as hell. Like, I was nervous,
100%.
but I knew that doing it would put me in a better spot. So I did it anyway, and I'm so glad that I did. Like, this just be my first podcast, I was a little nervous, but I know that doing those uncomfortable things is going to benefit me physically, mentally, emotionally as well. So I think it's just sometimes being willing to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. I think so many people, unfortunately, shy away due to fear of failure. And I think fear of failure, honestly, is the number one cause why people kind of just stay in their bubble.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to talk on that because there was this book that I recommended to everybody in my last role. It was called Go for No.
Go for No, baby.
Yep.
Go for
Yep.
No.
And that totally changed my perception on failure. I
Yeah.
always thought, and when I ask what their biggest takeaway was from this book, and I always share what mine was as well. My biggest, I always thought was that I thought that, like, we were in the middle and you got failure on one side, you got success on the other side.
Yeah.
And if you're doing things and you continue to fail, like, you're not getting close to success. So it's time to do something else. This isn't working. But what that book made me realize is that failure actually lies between us and success. And you have to just move through that, and you have to keep failing. Everybody that's successful in life and has reached success, they failed hundreds and thousands of times before they've reached that success marker. So now for me, like, even if I go 2, 3, 4 months and things don't go the way I want them to go, this is the only option for me. Like, I don't care if I have to DoorDash a little bit here and there, but I am not giving up on this health and wellness coaching business, because I know the more I fail at this, which some might see that as a negative thing, I just know that that's getting me closer and closer to success.
Yeah. I think that was a great way to put it. And honestly, I kind of want to take a little bit deeper dive there, since we are talking about mindset.
Yeah.
Is like, obviously, and you made a great point, is like, and it sounds very cliche, but I like to use this over and over again. It's like burning the boats, right? Like you really leave yourself no other option. Like you are going to succeed. Sure, there's going to be failures, trials, tribulations along the way, but those are all just, they're just hurdles, right? Because if you can
Yep.
overcome them, like that light just keeps getting closer and closer in that dark tunnel that you're in. So how important, and I've asked this to a lot of people that hop on the podcast, but I really like hearing different people's perspective on this, is how important is it to understand your why?
Crucial. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I think if you don't have your why at the forefront, like it's a lot easier to give up. So I think, and everybody's why is different. Some people,
Yeah.
it might be money and financial freedom, all this stuff. Like for me personally, like I'm in a different age group than some of the people that I worked with before.
Yeah.
And I was around before for me, and with the health journey I went through, like, man, I just want peace. I want contentment. I want purpose. Like those are my whys. Now, if money and financial freedom comes from that, I think that's the easiest way to reach that point instead of striving for that, because you're
Yeah.
aligned with what you're going after. So yeah, but I think if you don't know your true why, it's going to be a lot easier for you to shift a little bit or quit or give up. But you
Yes.
have to have that why in the forefront, and sometimes you have to repeat it to yourself over and over when things get tough.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, that's spot on. You know, I think so many people that maybe burn out, it's because their why wasn't strong enough. And I think obviously I've learned that from the last mentors, being a part of the academy and all that stuff, and really talking with people who understood their why, right? Like really deeply understood why they're doing what they're doing. And it's not until you can really feel an emotional attachment to that why that you're going to really be driven, and you're going to wake up on the days where you don't feel like, whatever, cold calling, if you don't feel like doing what you know you have to do, right?
Yep.
It's because you're not emotionally attached to the why.
Yep. You know what I think? Just because you said burnout, like I think, because I experienced that. Like that was one of the things that I experienced at the end of my role in my last job was burnout. And I think burnout. This is just my opinion, but I think sometimes it comes from not being fully aligned with what you're
Yes.
doing on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah, I
right?
100%
So
agree.
I think it would be easier for me to work 10, 12, 14-hour days if I'm fully aligned with what I'm working on.
Yeah.
But if somebody on the other end of it that's watching this, if you feel constantly burnt out, maybe it's just because you're not aligned with what you're doing on a daily basis.
Yes.
Like I watched this documentary one time. I forget what it's called. It was on Amazon, but it was like this monk about peace and happiness and all this time. And he talks about how stress and burnout comes from being further away from what you should be doing day to day than what you should be. But when you get aligned with that, like the stress tends to start to leave your body and the burnout starts to subside because you're in full alignment. And I think that's a big thing. So
I think, yeah, honestly, that was beautifully put, to be honest, because I think even a lot of people just need to take a step outside of what they're doing. Because, I mean, obviously life gets hectic. Everyone, we have bills to pay. We have shit we got to do. Honestly, you have to make ends meet. And I truly get that. Some people are in a lot better situations than others. But it's like really take a step outside and look at what you're doing, right? Because you only have one life, right? I'm going to be completely honest. You only have one life, right? You only have one opportunity to really go ahead and chase your dreams, right? And I mean, what's the worst that can happen? That 9 to 5 is always going to be there. That comfortable job's always going to be there. DoorDash, all those little substitutes that are going to help you get the bills paid, they will literally always be there. But, and I think this ties into what you're doing, right? Health and wellness will not always be there for you.
Yeah.
Age is a bitch, right?
Yep.
And every human is going to age, right? Some of us age better than others, and that's because of decisions that obviously we make on the daily, in which you're helping people make and I would say optimize, honestly. Like you're trying to optimize everybody to live the absolute fullest life possible.
Yep.
I mean, even as you see, man, I mean, I see some of my older relatives. I mean, they're not that old. They're like 55 plus, and I mean, they can barely move.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's not a position that you want to be in. And that's because of lifestyle habits that they made early on.
Yep. Yep.
And so, yeah, I think it's so important to obviously, and this kind of just ties back, I kind of segued away what we were talking about, but it ties back into understanding. It's like, man, you really have to be aligned with what you're doing, right? Because if not, I think that even seeps into so many different aspects of your life. If you're not happy at your job, you're not happy at home, and then that just creates internal conflicts, and then you're freaking miserable.
You think about it.
Absolutely
I mean, a third of your day, so 8 to 9 hours you're sleeping. 8 to 9 hours you're working, like a third or a more to a third of your day, like you're at work. So if you don't enjoy at least a little bit, like if you hate what you're doing, like you hate a third of your life. Like,
Exactly.
like what are we doing? So like I think especially in today's age, like with the internet and all this stuff, you can find so many ways to make money that can take some of that stress and burnout away from you, that could possibly allow you to live another 5, 10, 15 years with your kids, with your grandkids, all these different things. But people are just so caught up in like the rat race and bills and all this stuff. And I used to be there, man. I did. A lot of people are. But yeah, it's just interesting. One thing I'll say too about burnout, because I've had this conversation with people in my last role. Like if you're burnout, if you're stressed, find something to fill your cup, whatever it may be. Like you cannot pour from an empty cup. Like I've said that to so many people, man. And whether it's you're pouring into your work, you're pouring into your family, you're pouring into friends, you're pouring into all these different things. If you don't find something for yourself that brings you joy, whatever that is, some people might be painting or a dance class or jiu-jitsu, like you know what I mean, like everybody's got to have something that allows them to totally detach and just fill their cup up. So I think that's an important message too, is a lot of people don't have things that they enjoy doing for themselves. And people just, a lot of people are miserable, and I don't like that.
And I'm not gonna lie, you and I don't want to make this seem biased, but you were the one that opened me up to that idea, you know. And I mean, you know me pretty well, and kind of, you know, my work at, like, dude, I'm just a workhorse, right? So like when I'm doing something, it's just kind of head down 110%. I'm completely detached from the outcome. But I came to you multiple times because I felt burnt out. I really did, you know. I consistently was waking up daily, and I wouldn't say I hated what I was doing, but I was losing that edge that I always had. Right. And it wasn't until, and I talked to you about it. I talked to obviously some other mentors about it. And even I talked to my dad about it. And I think, and this is just my opinion, right? I think work-life balance is a lot of bullshit. When you're trying to chase real dreams and real big aspirations, it's going to be a lot more work than it is life. Right. And that's just how it is. And you have to understand that, because it still comes back to, if you're passionate about it, it's going to be a lot easier. So find something you're passionate about and fucking go all in. Right. But at the same time, you do still need to take time for yourself. And that's why I've done a lot better now, is like I time block for the gym, for the jiu-jitsu, for shit that I enjoy doing. Because, I mean, it's such a mental refresher. Because it helps me just come back. And the next days when I'm on the phones and I realize I'm one dial into 400 dials, I'm like, it's all good. I enjoyed myself yesterday. I did what I wanted to do. And obviously too, that ties back into just the blessings that we have. It's like, man, we're creating businesses out of thin air. Literally out of thin air. And that's the type of opportunity that's out there. And I wish most people would just wake up and realize it's like that dream that they have in their head, those like aspirations, like they're all real. They're all reality somewhere. It just hasn't caught up to you yet, right? And it's literally up to you to wake up every day and make those decisions that are either going to move the needle forward or just keep you in the same stuck place, unfortunately, that most people do choose.
Absolutely. I think I think, because you said work-life balance, right? I think to a certain extent, like, if you want to make millions of dollars a year, like you're not going to have work-life balance. It's not going to exist. But I think when you have your own thing, that if you're trying to build your own dreams instead of somebody else's, I think it's a little bit easier to kind of be more on the work side, right, than work life. 100%. But I think one thing that we got to realize, Luke, and you probably do, but not everybody has these types of goals and aspirations. Right. So like some people, and it's okay. It's totally okay. Some people like to just have a job and go do that, work 40 hours a week, come home on the weekends. I used to be that person. Like I didn't mind it. But even those types of individuals have to find something to pour into themselves. Because I'm sure those types of people don't fully enjoy, and I don't want to speak on, you know what I mean? They don't fully enjoy what they're doing. A lot of people don't, but there's a lot of people that do. So, but when you have big goals, big dreams, you want to make millions, you want to be a millionaire, multi-millionaire, work-life balance, it just doesn't But I don't have those.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make $1 million a year, to be honest with you.
Exactly.
Like
No,
I'd rather live in a tiny house out in the country.
Yeah, no,
Like,
100%.
but be cool, but like just be totally content and aligned with what I do. That for
Yeah.
me that's wealth right there.
See, and that all comes back to your why, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a different why,
Exactly,
right?
man.
Like it literally, I think, and that's why it all like stop fucking looking at social media and thinking like that's gonna be your life. Like, dude, everybody is on such a different journey. And TJ sent me something today, and it was kind of funny because it was so real. And it was just a picture of somebody who's kind of in the wholesaling business, something that I'm doing, right? They're absolutely killing it, right? They just bought like their third car. They got like a Maybach, and I sent it to him, and I was like, man, this has to be me someday. And I mean, he shot me back, and he was like, I forget which way he put it, but it was like, don't judge them on where they're at, right? Like, because everybody's on a different path, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna maybe take a little bit longer to get there, but it's just about understanding like this is your own path, right? Like their path is way different. Their opportunities that were presented to them way different. Their skill sets way different, right?
Yep.
So, and that's where social media has fucked everybody up,
It
unfortunately.
really has, man. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
are out there, they're comparing their chapter 1 to everybody else's chapter 15 or 20, and it
Yes.
just puts
Yes.
then you have this negative self-talk and like all these
Yep.
things like, oh, why am I not there yet, and I deserve this
Exactly.
and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You put that negative stuff in your brain, bro, like that's what happens when you start
Yeah.
thinking negative things start to happen in your life. So
Yeah,
I agree, social
100%.
media, it can be really really good, but
Yep.
it can also
Yeah,
be
it can.
really really bad. It's kind of like
Yeah.
our thoughts, like
It is.
thoughts can
It
be really
is.
really good, but they could be really really bad for you. So
Yeah. And
it's
that's
just all in
that's
how
what-
you use it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, and it's all in how you use it because my social media has completely transformed in the past year. I mean, I used to have just a bunch of stuff that was like in the most simplistic terms, it was brain rot, right? It was
Yeah.
like just like stuff that was like not beneficial. Now my Instagram feed is so different. It's so much more tactical. It's all about business. It's all about mindset. It's all about motivation. And logging on and seeing that, because I mean, we're just in a generation where we can't escape social media. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can become a monk and go to the mountains and
Yeah,
really-
right.
you can, and I absolutely respect that. I respect you if you do that.
Yeah.
For me, it's just it's not what I'm gonna do. I'm
Yeah.
always gonna be on social media. It's a way that I do business. It's a way I build my personal brand. But I've now kind of tweaked that social media to where it's not really a distraction. It's only as much positivity as I can get from it, right?
Yep.
Because we're just
You've
can't
filtered
escape
the bad stuff out, and you're using it as an asset, not letting it be a
Exactly.
liability.
Exactly. That's the best way to put it. It's no longer a liability. I mean, before, I'd spend like, and you get so stuck up in it, you'll spend like an hour just scrolling, and none of it benefits you. It's just dopamine rushes. Now I'm scrolling through, and it's all about social media tactics. It's all about creating fun. It's like real tactical information that is like, I think it's fantastic. And most people need to take a self audit and really realize like their environment is determining their outcomes, right?
Facts.
You really have to understand that, whether it's people or whether it's your social media, and even down to the TV shows you watch. Like my YouTube is the same thing now. I mean, it used to be filled with just monotonous stuff, and now it's Hermosi, it's Tony Robbins, it's those type of people. It's people that are actually giving me tactical information, and it's just the environment. It really is.
It is, man, and it kind of just goes about like health and wellness, like with the inputs, like what
Yes.
can you control? Like just like
Exactly.
you just said, you can control what you consume on social media. Like you can
Yep.
control what we put into our bodies. You can control the thoughts that we have, or at least how long we dwell on those thoughts. Like it's
Exactly.
getting back to those roots and those inputs that put us in the best position possible to be that future version that we want to be.
Yep. No, 100%. 100%. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, man. I know we're at that little 40-minute mark. So what I would like to do, right, for everybody that has watched it all the way through, that took their time to obviously, get this tactical knowledge, mindset, and everything, can you share with them kind of what you have coming up with your school community
Yeah.
and the YouTube? And I just want everybody to kind of figure out if this is something that they're interested in. If they're interested in real change, let's show them where to go.
Yeah, I did. So working on school community now. By the
Yep.
time this airs, I think we'll be good there. It's a free
Yep.
community. Really, what I want to use this for, guys, and have you use it for,
Yep.
is a way to not only for accountability and community support and stuff like that, but learning more about the 8 roots that I talked about earlier in the call. Figuring out which one or two of those roots that are most important for you to change right now and help you through that process. If you want more than just the free school community where you'll learn a little bit, you'll have the community that we have there that will grow over time.
Yep.
If you want to work with me one-on-one as well, I'm always open to jump on calls to do a clarity call to kind of figure out what your biggest challenge is right now, how committed you are to changing it, and see if I can even help you. I'd be more than happy to jump on a call and kind of see if we'd be a good fit to work together there as well. So if you guys, I don't know if you want to do like route, like if you want to comment route or on my Instagram or the video or something like that, I'll reach out to you guys and we can schedule a call. But definitely the school community is going to be coming here. It'll be done by the time that this airs. So
100%. And all that, obviously, I'll put a link in the description. I'll put a link for your Instagram. Anybody that is interested, and I would highly suggest, I mean, even if you just feel that change is something you need, get in touch, right?
Yep.
Just kind of, it's not a therapy session, but just get out what you obviously been holding in for a while. And if you can help, great. If not, you can leave that call with a lot of clarity and even more tactical knowledge that you can go use to change your life, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's fantastic. I think more people should be open-minded to that. I think this is just a great thing that you're doing, brother. Like I said, everybody, the school link will be below. So if the school community is something you're interested about, go ahead and click that. If you want to talk to him personally, I'll put his Instagram link below as well. He's always been responsive. I mean, how many times have I hit you up and it's literally within 30 minutes we're on a phone call with each other.
Yep.
So it's like, it's real personable, you know, we're not looking at numbers. Like we're really looking at impacts, how many people live that you can impact.
Yep.
So I think that's fantastic, brother. One last question I will ask, right?
Yeah.
This is the same question I pretty much ask everybody when we wrap it up. What advice would you give to yourself maybe 5 years ago, right? You're in a completely different position. You're in a completely different mindset, right? Knowing what you know now, being through the trials and tribulations that you've been through, what type of advice would you be giving yourself?
Oh man. Keep faith, man. To just have faith and not only getting closer to God is something that I've done over these last few years as well. I think having faith in God's plan and knowing that everything happens for a reason. You're right exactly where you should be in your life. Just having faith in the process and everything else, I think would be a big one for me. Because I had a lot of those feelings before of why me? Why haven't I accomplished this yet? And all this stuff. Yeah, if I wouldn't have gone through that stuff that I did and everything I have up to this point, I wouldn't be fully aligned with these next 10, 20, 30, 40 years of my life where I'm going to be helping people. So I think just having faith in everything, man. Yeah,
that's the best way to put it, man. I think most people, whether it's faith in the religion or whether it's just faith in yourself, like really just have faith, man. I know it sounds so cliche. I know it sounds so cliche to some people. But there's going to be somebody out there that really takes a step back and understands. It's like, look, man, like everything's happened to you for a reason. I know the reason may not be super clear right now, but I promise you in 2 or 3 years, if you just freaking hold in there, you'll see the reason. And it's not a failure as long as you don't give up. That's the best way I can put it, right?
Yep, I love that.
Yes, sir, man. So like I said, man, super appreciate you. I feel this is a great one. And all the links will be below. Let's get some people in this community. Let's build this community up. Let's change more lives, man. I'm super happy with everything you're doing.
I'm excited, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you, man.
Of course, brother.
All right.